Ladies and gentlemen, I say good afternoon to everyone. It's been quite an acute journey, that started on Saturday here in Abuja. And on Sunday, the ECOWAS leaders, heads of governments, were hosted. Military option is the last option. But he has directed us, the Ministry of Defense and the Armed Forces of Nigeria, to come together with other ECOWAS members. And I can assure you that we are waiting for a call by the ECOWAS Committee of Heads of Governments, and particularly our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Move, and the armed forces shall move.
If you can still run out of Niger now, do well to run out of Niger. And if you have family members in Niger at the moment, ensure you reach them to run out of Niger. Or if it's your loved one, ensure you reach them to look for a way to lure out of Niger to neighboring countries or neighboring African countries or European countries that is not far from Niger. Because what is coming to Niger Republic now is not going to be easy as we're thinking. Because the ECOWAS at the moment, before the next 24 hours, they are making their first strike. They are making their first strike in no time to Niger Republic, due to the coup that took over Niger, and the coups that took over Niger too. They are not loose guarding. All of them are prepared for war is coming to them. So if you have a family in Niger, do well to eradicate them off Niger now. Niger is nowhere to be at the moment, and you can share this video. Ensure you share it to different platforms. Let it go viral, and if you can share it, like it, give it a thumb up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. Stay connected as I show you the full video of what is going on right now and the attack that has been launched on Niger at the moment. Stay connected. Go back again.
Welcome you back to LAJUPOG TV.
I don't have bad news for you today.
The home of religious gossip.
But you should leave the fight for Mohammed.
What is happening in the Christendom? Join now to make sense with LAJUPOG.
Hello my great and wonderful viewers, welcome back to Launc.Hed TV. For those of you that are new to this channel, ensure you click the red subscription button on your video screen. Subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell icon so that whenever we drop a new video in few hours time, YouTube will easily let you to know. Still on what is happening in Niger, it's normal news that some coups take over Niger due to the bad government of Niger. They did not just take over, they took over just because they believe that the democratic government of Niger is taking Niger down, and Niger is going back as far as economy and everything is concerned. There were economic downfall and economic crisis and all of that. So the military took over, and it is not only Niger that the military took over. Right from time, military had took over Nigeria, some other countries before, like Mali, Burkina Faso, and others. But the moment the Niger coups took over Niger and they began to run military government, Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, came out. He said Niger coups should eradicate the country. They should allow the president of Niger to take over the country again. He said they want Niger to be practicing democratic government, and even the citizens of Niger, the civilians in Niger, said they don't want the democratic government. They protested. They said they want the military dictatorship government. That was what the civilians said in course of everything. As the chairman of ECOWAS by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Tinubu is the chairman of ECOWAS, and even if he's not fully seated on the presidential seat of Nigeria with two buttocks, he's still having court case with Peter Obi, Atiku, and others, so they can still sit him. But even if he's still the president of Nigeria at the moment, he's still the ECOWAS chairman. So Tinubu and some other West African countries, they pull forces together, and they said they want to fight Niger. They want to fight the people of Niger. They want to fight the military in Niger so that the democratic government can be restored. Because according to reports, the coups in Niger, they arrested and they held back the president of Niger. They put him in custody, and the president of Niger is one of the ECOWAS presidents. And so Tinubu and others, they said peace is overrated, that they want to fight the military in Niger. And mind you, Niger have already prepared themselves ahead of this. Niger have prepared themselves to fight Nigeria, to fight Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and to fight other ECOWAS countries. And by so doing, Tinubu tendered this to the Senate of Nigeria, and the Senate declined. They said they don't want war. They said Tinubu cannot fight Niger. They cannot settle the issue that is between Niger government and the people with war. They said they want Tinubu to settle it amicably. But Tinubu discarded the ruling of the Senate. He said he's going to fight them with war. In the next 24 hours, in few hours from now, if you have your people in Niger, try to eradicate them, because something is happening at the moment. Tinubu and other ECOWAS presidents, they said they give Niger 24 hours, and today is the deadline. They give Niger coups today to eradicate the presidential seat, so that their democratic government can be restored. So something tragic is going to happen any moment from now. The first attack may be launched any moment from now. And mind you, it is not only the military that will take side of the attack. Even civilians, a lot of innocent people will go down for it. Please stay safe. So I would like you guys to share this video, let it go viral, share to different social media platforms, and if you can share, just like it, give it a thumb up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. This same Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not have a single son in the Nigerian military, but yet is putting Nigerian military out to go and face Niger. The Nigerian military forces that have not been able to face the terrorists of Nigeria, the ISWAP, the Boko Haram, the unknown government, and other terrorists in different regions of Nigeria. The military of Nigeria, the soldiers of Nigeria, and all of that have not been able to face all these terrorists in Nigeria fully, and yet they are going out to go and fight the fight that does not even concern them. Even the citizens of Niger said they don't want the help of Tinubu because they are okay with the military government. They love it because they believe that something reasonable can come out of the military government and their economic can rise again. They said they don't want Tinubu and some other ECOWAS to intervene, but Tinubu said no. He wants to try to put out his own army to go and fight in Niger, whereas fire is burning under the carpet in Nigeria. And mind you, it is possible that if Tinubu should send all the army of Nigeria to Niger, Boko Haram and other ISWAP and other terrorists in Nigeria can have their way fully in Nigeria, and even Biafra can break out, and a lot of things may go wrong in the country. So Tinubu said peace is not an option. The best option now for him, according to Tinubu, said Nigerian military should go and take over Niger and fight Niger and make sure that the Niger democracy is restored. That was what Tinubu said. I will show the video of where everything is going on in Nigeria at the moment. Nigerian soldiers are already in Nigeria and they have locked the Niger-Nigerian border in Nigeria here. They've locked it up. They don't want Nigerians to come into Nigeria at the moment because the war is going to be massive. So stay connected as I show you the video. Going back again.
On the critical question of leadership in Africa and the critical question of followership in Africa, and the Africa that I talk about is the post-colonial Africa. The Africa which is now divided into 55 countries with 55 boundaries imposed on her. This is what Africa is asking for. And Africa has been asking this question since she regained her independence. You know, when one is talking about leadership in Africa, one must go into history and ask ourselves, what was leadership before we were rudely disrupted? We had our traditional rulers. How did they govern? For whose benefit did they govern? They are still there, the traditional rulers. How do they fit in the new dispensation? When we regained independence and adopted all these structures from the erstwhile colonizer, what did we expect to deliver? That great American Pan-Africanist John Hendricks Clark says that when Africans regained their independence, not a single one of them re-examined the style of leadership. All of them continued with a mimicry of the leadership that they inherited from the colonizer. And he then delivers this verdict: not a single African country will ever succeed by mimicry. And I want to submit to you that whether one agrees or disagrees with John Hendrik Clark, one must look at Africa in order to ask ourselves, what is the state of leadership in Africa? And permit me to run you across the continent of Africa, and you will see a continent that is not at ease. The continent is not at ease because the continent is suffering from a deficit of leadership. Look at Africa today. Tell me whether we are at ease in Niger. Tell me whether Mali is settled. Tell me whether there is quiet and calm in Chad. Tell me whether Guinea-Bissau is doing well. Tell me whether the Cameroons are stable. Tell me whether Central African Republic is good. Tell me whether Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Northern Mozambique, and all these countries where there is peace and quiet, whether the sons and daughters of this country, tell me whether even this great Nigeria is at ease. Tell me. The answer is, she is not. And I dare say that as long as Nigeria is not at ease, Africa will never be at ease. If Africa wants to be at ease, Nigeria must be at ease. She is the largest economy in Africa. She has a population of over nearly 200 million people. 1 in every African is a Nigerian. She is represented in every sector. If you want the best engineers in the continent, they are Nigerians. If you want the best doctors, they are Nigerians. If you want good lawyers, they are Nigerians. If you want good people, they are Nigerians. But also, if you want Yahoo boys, they are Nigerians. Nigeria is a great country. A friend of mine once told me that if you go to any part of the world and you do not find a Nigeria, leave that place, because there is nothing to do there. Nigerians are present everywhere in the world, everywhere in Africa, and Nigeria, I'm told, is a $500 billion economy. Never ever be proud of that, Nigerians. This is an economy that should at least be a $4 trillion GDP economy. Whenever you reach that level, then I'll say Nigeria is doing the right thing. All the ingredients are there. The question is, why is it that she is not realizing our potential? When we talk about leadership, we must ask ourselves, why is it that despite the best intention of the best of us, we do not gain what we desire? You know, I said that when you look at Africa and leadership, you must go back to history and you ask yourself what the leadership is. And we have looked at Africa that is not at ease, but yet there is a sense in which Africa has had and continues to have men and women of renown. I remember, courtesy of history, when Africa was struggling for our independence. I can remember that great meeting in Manchester in the United States of America, the Pan-African meeting. And history tells me that Nigeria was there. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was there in 1945. And I can still remember his words spoken about African unity. I remember that Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah was there. And then we remember how they came back to the continent to lead the continent. And I am still wondering how in those days, without the benefit of the internet, without the benefit of all means of communication that we now have today, that those men and women were able to govern and to galvanize the attention of the continent of Africa for the sake of Africa. They were there throughout. But even prior to that, I can still remember another great African talking about leading Africa out of our state, the great South African Pixley Kaisa Kaseme in 1906 in Columbia in the United States of America, saying Africa must be regenerated. When all these things happened, there were leaders in Africa at that time. And their mandate was cut out for them. Their mandate was to ensure that we broke the colonial chains, and we did. I remember. And many of you here, courtesy of history, will remember many Africans at that time. And if I name them, you will agree with me that they were leaders. How many of you in this assembly will not remember Marcus Garvey and say that he was a leader? How many of you here will not remember Julius Nyerere and not say that he was a leader? How many of you will remember Kaunda, Amilcar Cabral, Samora, Moises Machel, Agostino Neto, Namdi Azikiwe, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Gamal Abdel Nasser, and many others, and remember that they were leaders who did not want to occupy political space because of material aggrandizement. They denied themselves. I so very fondly remember that when Kenneth David Kaunda left office, it was said of him that the only amount of money he had in his account was the equivalent of $5,000. That is what your current politician eats for breakfast. I can remember when Julius Kambarage Nyerere left office after 24 years, the only amount of money that he had in his account was the equivalent of 8,000 United States dollars. That is what your current politician uses for a single visit to a gymnasium. There were leaders who were selfless. They understood that it was an honor and privilege. They sacrificed their lives. They saw their positions of leadership as that of leading their brethren. They did not think that they were superior to the people they led. They thought it was a privilege and that they had the honor, and that because they had that honor, then they had to serve their leaders with distinction, with consistency. They were prepared to be questioned. They did not believe that they had the monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. They were leaders because they were servants. You know, I can still remember Julius Kambarage Nyerere speaking on the 6th day of March 1997 in Accra, Ghana, on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the independence of Ghana, under the subject, "Without unity, Africa has no future." Mwalimu recounts the history of Africa. He says, when we rose up against the colonialists, our agenda was cut out for us. We, the Africans, had been humiliated in our own lands. Our people had been denied the opportunity to realize their potential. Our mandate was one: to expel the colonizer. We did our bit. We made our mistakes. But who said we were infallible? This struggle is an intergenerational struggle. The next generation after us had the duty to pick up the baton and to run the next leg. The question is, did that generation pick up the baton? Have they run the leg well? The answer, not as well as they should have. Because we must never make the mistake of assuming that African leaders have done nothing. No, that would be too harsh. I think attempts have been made, whether in Nigeria or in different parts of Africa, to liberate ourselves from the chains and sorrows of the colonial project. But remember, as Kwame once said, the colonialist never left. He is alive and well. He still wears different masks. And those masks may appear to camouflage him, but they are here. Have you ever wondered why, when the British left their colonies, they created something that they called the Commonwealth of Nations, to which Nigeria belongs? In that Commonwealth of Nations, the head is the British monarch. When the Queen dies, the King becomes its head. It is headquartered in London. It is the Commonwealth of Independent and Free Nations. It is not. It is a post-colonial, neo-colonial institution which continues to massage the ego of the erstwhile colonizer as we celebrate. Through such institutions, they continue to control and to manipulate us. And many of us, particularly those of us who have had the advantage of foreign education, we never want to talk ill of bodies such as the Commonwealth. I do. And it's not only the British who did it. The French did it under Francophonie. In order to control their former colonies and to make sure that they remain within their sphere of influence, they created a body which is alive and well. In the former French colonies, it's even worse. They even print their currency. The Portuguese did it. So, in as much as African leaders have been trying to ensure that we change the circumstances of our people, there have been external attempts at torpedoing those efforts. And Africa and African leadership must be seen in those contexts. There are those in many African countries who have allowed themselves to be acolytes of the neo-colonizers and to the detriment of the continent of Africa. So when we interrogate leadership, we must ask ourselves, how free are our leaders? How free are our politicians from external influence? But is that an excuse? No, it cannot be an excuse. Leaders in a multi-ethnic environment must also be different. You know, Nigeria, as Chinua rightly said, like all African countries, is an artificial entity. Chinua says in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria, that there is nothing comparable to how the European nations were created. There is no Nigerian, Chinua Achebe says, in the same way as there is a Danish or a Swedish or a Norwegian. Nigeria is a unique state with many states. The same is true of Kenya. The same is true of Ghana. Nigeria possibly has over 500 nations within her. Tanzania 136. The Democratic Republic of Congo 306. Kenya 42. Uganda 56. In order to be a leader in such countries, those who have the honor and privilege must be men and women who are prepared to ensure that they weld the bonds amongst those people. As Samora Moises Machel said, if the post-colonial African country is to succeed, the tribe must die. And the tribe must die because if the tribe does not die, then the new nation will never thrive. And I did not understand Samora Moises Machel to say that he should stop being a Yoruba. No, I did not understand him to say that he should stop being a thief or to stop being an Igbo or Hausa or a Fulani. No, those are cultural mosaics which when put together make a nation beautiful and strong. But what do we do in most of Africa? We use those cultural differences to divide the people. We use those cultural differences to reinforce centrifugal forces and therefore threaten the very nation which we want to serve. I am telling all of us who are present here, and many of you who are present in this assembly, who are honored and respected and claim to be leaders, that you have a duty to ensure that you are in front in order to serve and not to be served. But ladies and gentlemen, let us also ask ourselves about followership. You know, as a young student, and many of us who are young students, it was the culture when you are in your first year of studies that you must be a revolutionary. And a revolutionary in the style of Karl Marx. And therefore you would say, workers of the world, unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains. All of us were revolutionaries. And we used to say then that the safety of the bourgeois demands that the proletariat be kept in the most profound ignorance. We were revolutionaries. Who is a leader? Is he a leader who allows meta-ignorance to reign supreme amongst the people he or she is leading? Is it the duty of a leader to ensure that he leads men and women who are enlightened? Men and women who can question what he or she is doing? I'm suggesting to us that true and sustainable leadership also requires that you have a followership that is enlightened, a followership that calls you to account, a followership that is going to make demands of you, a followership that when you say that you are going to improve the quality of their food, they do not believe that agriculture stops on that day, but they believe that agriculture must be intensified and that technology must be used. A followership which knows that when you say you are going to deliver heaven on earth, they know that that is merely an advertisement that you are incapable of delivering heaven on earth. A followership that knows that when you are promising to do things within 100 days, which ordinarily can only be done in 5 years, they know that you are a liar. A followership that is capable of discerning that when you speak things, there are many variables, and it is the duty of a leadership to ensure that such a leadership is indeed created. What do African leaders do? African leaders in many African countries have now assigned the question of educating their followers to NGOs and CBOs which are financed by the Americans, which are financed by the Europeans, which are financed by other civilizations. How do you think, how do you imagine that the people of Denmark would have the interest of Nigeria at their heart? How are you satisfied that all those civic education activities that are being undertaken in Borno, in Maiduguri, or in Abeokuta, financed by USAID, are meant to be for the benefit of Nigeria? Because the last time I checked, the English used to say, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So today, when you look at most of Africa, we have a followership that is tuned from outside. It is not a followership that is tuned from inside. And you wonder why they behave the way they do. They behave the way they do because they are being tuned by other civilizations. 3 years ago, an old friend of mine, now gone to be with the Lord, was engaged in a conversation with me. And I was complaining about the leadership, and he told me, I hear you, young man. You're always complaining about leadership in Africa and other parts, but have you ever wondered about the followership? He says you are complaining about the windmill, but do you ever bother about the wind? Is it not the case that the windmill follows the wind? I'm suggesting to you that Africa will never realize our potential as long as the critical mass of our people are immersed in sorrow and want. I am suggesting to you that Africa is not going to grow as long as you who are in positions of leadership have perfected the art of appealing to the stomachs rather than the minds of the men and women that you lead. I'm suggesting to you that Africa is not going to realize our potential as long as we continue to conduct the politics of money and money bags, not the politics of ideas. I'm suggesting to you that Africa is never going to realize our potential as long as we are dividing our people along ethnic lines. I'm suggesting to you that as long as you who are in positions of honor and privilege are in the business of dividing our people on the basis of religion, Africa is not going to realize our potential.
Thank you for staying connected, my great and wonderful viewers. You can see what is going on in Africa at the moment between Niger Republic, Nigeria, and others. You know, in course of all this whole issue, you know, the military government is really Mali and Burkina Faso. So Mali and Burkina Faso military government, they want to join hands with Niger Republic coup to fight against the ECOWAS, comprised of Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and some other countries. You know, they want to put forces together to fight all these things together. Now, the Nigerian people said they don't want Tinubu to fight the Niger Republic. They said they want peace. They want this to be settled amicably with peace. They said they don't want war between Nigeria and any other country. So if you should vote between Nigerians now, 90% of Nigerians said they want peace. They don't want Tinubu to fight against Niger and others, you know. But the issue is this: Tinubu, even after the Senate of Nigeria said they don't want Tinubu to go and fight the Niger Republic, Tinubu still discard the ruling of the Senate. You know, before Tinubu can make a decision like that, he needs to tender it to the Senate. He can't just make a decision on his own. But the Senate, after Tinubu tendered to the Senate, the Senate said they don't want Tinubu to go and fight Niger, but Tinubu discard what the ruling of the Senate is. You know, Tinubu have invited the ECOWAS armies and all of that, and they have made their plan of fighting Niger now, as far as this whole issue is concerned. But I mean, there is a world power like Russia and all of that, Israel, that Nigeria have issue with. Nigeria will prefer to settle it amicably because they know that they can never confront the military of all those countries. But when it comes to Niger, now they believe that Tinubu believes that Niger is a smaller country to Nigeria, and they believe that Nigeria have a lot of weapons, more far better than Niger. Even if we should combine Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger together, that they want to put their forces together against against Nigeria, Nigeria is still having more forces than they do. So Tinubu believes that Nigeria is more powerful than they do. That is why he's doing all these things. That is why he never want to click on the option piece, the option of peace. He never want to subscribe to it because he believes that Nigeria is more powerful than they do. This is a big shame to all African leaders, most especially the ECOWAS leaders comprised of Cameroon president, Ghana, Nigeria, and all of that. This is a big shame to them because if they're gonna fight war against Nigeria, that they don't even invite them for war, they're gonna spend a lot of money. They're gonna spend billions of dollars to fight the war because they're gonna fill the soldiers in the war front and all of that. And yet African people are really suffering. There's economic crisis that is even sinking. They can't afford 3 square meal, more especially in Nigeria, some other African countries. They can't afford 3 square meal. They can't boast of 3 square meal, and yet their leaders are spending their money wrongly. They are spending their money on war zone that did not even concern them. What do you guys think? But I don't mean that it's all these world power countries like China, US, he will want to settle amicably. But I don't know why Tinubu is doing this at the moment, even when Nigerians are saying that they don't want Tinubu to fight against Niger, and Niger citizens are even saying that they want the military government that just took over their country. So what's now the headache of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and some other ECOWAS presidents? Is there a personal interest in that they are fighting for? Is there a personal thing that they see in Niger that they are fighting for? Do you really think they are fighting for Africa? Do you really think they are fighting for the people? The people you wanted to go and fight for, they said they don't want you to come and fight for them because they are okay with the situation of things in their country. They are okay with the coups that took over their country. But yet you are saying you want to fight for this. Is it by force to fight for the people? Even in course of the fight and everything, I know that a lot of Nigerian army will be lost. A lot of army will die in course of the process. And yet the people you want to fight for will not still appreciate the fact that some people came to lose their life in their country. And this army we're talking about, none of Tinubu's children is in the Nigerian army. The Sheikh Tinubu of Tinubu's son is not in the Nigerian army. I remember that Tinubu can put his son in the forefront of the war. It would have been more better. We'll give him an accolade, we'll clap for him. But now he's risking the life of some other people that someone else gave birth to. And yet he did not feel remorse. He wants to put them in the war front and waste their life. And yet the country you want to fight against, they are not even in support of you. What do you guys think? I'd like you guys to drop your opinion in the comment section of this video. Do you really think Tinubu and some other ECOWAS country are not hiding anything from Africans? Do you really think they are not hiding anything from Africans? Because according to report now, nobody is supporting them. None of their country people is supporting them, but yet they want to go and fight for their own personal interest. Do you really think they are fighting for Africans or their own personal interest? Drop your opinion in the comment section of this video. So I'm going on there to create another thing for you. Make sure you follow me on all my social media handles on Facebook at LAJUPOG TV and on LAJUPOG Entertainment, and on Instagram at LAJUPOG. You can follow us on X, you can call it Twitter at LAJUPOG. Guess what, guys? See you in my next video. Bye.